Thank you, everyone. It's good to see such a wonderful packed room here today. So I am Elena Lucas, co-founder and CEO of UtilityAPI, and I am an entrepreneur. If you had asked me 2 years ago if I would be an entrepreneur now, I would have said no, maybe someday. But today I'm going to share that story of where I was and how I got here now. So what we're doing is, with the UtilityAPI, we're making money and saving the world at the same time. So the groundwork for how I got here, background is, I'm from Metro Detroit, went to undergrad at Loyola Chicago, did some internships there at Alliance for the Great Lakes, did some water stuff, did some community climate planning, went to grad school. In undergrad studied abroad in Rome and Beijing, caught the China bug, went to grad school for China and economics. And along the way, I realized I didn't want to actually live and work in China. So I started focusing more on the energy side of things. Growing up, I was a Girl Scout all the way through. I'm a Girl Scout Gold Awardee. And so it's a good tie-in for Girl Scouts. And what do I want to be when I grow up? I want to be saving the world. So after grad school, with all of that education, it was very, very expensive. So $150,000 in debt. So background. So Detroit, grew up in the wonderful city of Detroit and the socioeconomic situation that was there. So just the background is the auto industry disappeared in the 1990s with NAFTA and everything that was happening globally with global trade, and that's what I went to school for, trying to figure out why did this happen and what were the economics that really drove that. So after grad school, I moved to the Bay Area, wanting to be in renewables. I got my first full-time job at PG&E, doing finance. I was there for 14 months. I learned quickly that working in a large corporation did not fit my personality. PG&E is 25,000 people. They're doing amazing things, but I knew that I wanted to be more hands-on with renewables and driving that change. So in September of 2013, Women in Cleantech and Sustainability had a talk by Kate Permal. She was CEO over at SanDisk, and she had this talk about how out of the 16 different measures of the skills you needed to be a great leader, women generally measured much better than men on all of them except for one, and that was vision. And so I'm like, okay. Let's think bigger here. Let's just start doing things and start leading by example, just see how this goes. So left PG&E in February, was working at a wind company, and was only there for six months, and then I was unemployed. And it wasn't the right fit. I didn't know the types of skills that I really brought to the table. It was really about learning what I was good at. And especially after all of that education, thinking that a master's degree would save me from unemployment ever, was quickly dispelled. And so that was a lot of soul searching at that point. But because of the connections from organizations like Women in Cleantech and Sustainability, I was out there having 2-3 meetings, coffees, lunches, only one lunch, coffees a day, and out there talking to wonderful people in the clean tech space, looking for that right space where I could make a difference. And so after the Kate Permal talk, I also led a retreat for long-term career planning over a weekend in Sonoma, always great with some mountains and wine. I started a newsletter, so I aggregated all the events in the Bay Area so it's tech, clean tech, energy, or like clean energy, and like career development. So I just started aggregating all those events because I wanted to be out there learning more, meeting more people, figuring out where I could fit into this ecosystem. And started the newsletter, had a lean-in circle, started a website because I'm copying and pasting all these events together, so I might as well throw them up on a website. and attended my first tech event in June of last year. And I also planned so the first tech event, it was extraordinary. It was a startup weekend, which they strive to do 1/3 like front-end visual designers, 1/3 back-end software developers, and then business people. And so I showed up on a Friday night. I pitched an idea for it's called Connect-O-Matic. It's better than LinkedIn. You can add all your notes to it. And I had 1 front-end and 2 back-end developers and 2 business people jump on my team, and we built a minimum viable product that weekend. And so all of a sudden, why not? Why not get out there, start building things, and see what's possible? The tools are out there. Okay, thank you. And one of those tools is Weebly. It's how you can make a website. It's easier than using PowerPoint. And for example, this is, so I wrote my name as my logo with a Sharpie, as a whiteboard marker, and then removed the background when I copy and pasted it into PowerPoint. So all of those hacks, just get out there, start building things, start figuring out how to just hack it all together, because why not? So at the Women in Cleantech and Sustainability Happy Hour in Inner Solar 2014 is where I met Daniel. He is my co-founder. He's here in a red polo. There he is. I hope you're coding. And, so just planning an event, meeting people. He signed up for my newsletter. I emailed my newsletter, who wants to go to a hackathon with me? It's a no coding hackathon. He's like, but I like to code. And I'm like, okay. And I had never had more than a business card exchange with him. And we did a hackathon, found out we worked really well together. And we became co-founders in September. So that was 14 months ago. And from there, we raised money from, we were in Powerhouse, which was formerly SunCube. It's a solar co-working and accelerator program. Our desks are solar panels. It's just an amazing ecosystem to be embedded in for entrepreneurship in clean tech. We had our first hire in January. We had paying customers. We raised an angel round. We have nearly $900,000 now from Department of Energy non-dilutive capital, in addition to our nearly $900K in convertible note as well. So going from 2 people 14 months ago to an 11-person company with a good run rate and paying customers, we're solving real problems for companies in the sector. We get data out of utilities for solar and storage companies. And it's just been an extraordinary journey. And I couldn't have done that without the network of everyone that I meet at events like this. And it's just being curious, it's listening to people, seeing what those problems are. And the background from the utility was extremely valuable. So in September, not being ever in tech before, we ended up at Y Combinator Startup School. Applied for office hours, and they asked us to do it on stage in front of 1,700 people and live streamed. And so you can now watch our UX breakdown there, and it's certainly something to watch between there and what's going on now. And we did Sunshot Catalyst, which is you have an idea for a way to make solar cheaper with software, and you put an idea out there. And they select the top 20 of them. You just put it on this platform online. DOE selects top 20. You get 30K of developer time on Top Coder. And then you pitch. And the top 5 get a 30K check, which is pretty fabulous. And thank you. And that took me to speaking at the White House about these challenges last month, 1 month ago today. So the timeline looks like this. It's really like that. Along the way, there's plenty of fear. but why not get started building something? The tools are there. It's easier than you think. You just start doing it. If you don't start now, when? And if not you, who? Stop waiting around for someone else to get started building what needs to be there to address climate change or do something else that's meaningful in the world. Be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. People love to help. An inspiring thing for me was that a company that only texts the word yo could raise $1 million. If those schmucks could raise $1 million, why couldn't I with a real idea? So 4 takeaways. You show up to events like this, you meet wonderful people, you just take action, know what your skills are, and just continue to discover what you're good at, and be curious and ask questions. And you don't get what you deserve, you get what you tolerate. It's key no matter if you're an entrepreneur or the lowest level analyst at PG&E like I was. And that's what I realized, it is what you tolerate. And for everyone else in jobs, it's when you're applying for something, recognizing that you don't need to satisfy all those requirements. This is always my PSA. You always apply if you think you qualify for half of the requirements. And I love Leah of TaskRabbit. I saw her speak and she said, I only knew 2% of what I needed to know to start a company. But if I had waited to know anything more, I would never have started it. So let's all get started. All right.